Guys. Well, it's time to make another dinner, and it's time to look at my leftovers in the fridge and see what I can come up with. So this is what I found. Let me bring you a little closer. Okay. All right, in my fridge and freezer I had a little bit of homemade vegan ham. I made this a while ago. It was in the freezer. So I just chopped that up really fine. And I've had this Cleveland kraut in the refrigerator. It's been opened for a while. It's been in there. And this one is whiskey dill. So I did eat some of it on, I can't even remember what. But there's still like this much in there. And I have some mashed potatoes that I made the other day. And those were just the packaged Idahoan potatoes. And those were the, I think garlic butter or something like that. I can't remember which. But anyway, I have that. I have some ground up walnuts. I have some mustard, and this is Dijon mustard, and an egg. So what I want to do is make some sauerkraut patties. Instead of making sauerkraut balls, I may make some of them into balls like for the holiday. But for dinner, I want to try and make a couple of sauerkraut patties. And so we'll see how it turns out. Maybe good, maybe not so good. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the sauerkraut to the mashed potatoes. And this sauerkraut is fairly dry. And there's only 1 ounce is 10 calories, and there's 16 servings in this little container. So I'm going to put that in with the mashed potatoes, and it's pretty dry. It doesn't have a lot of liquid with it, so I don't need to drain it first. Now, if your sauerkraut is too sour for your liking, what you can do is just put it in a sieve and run it under water for just a few seconds, and that'll take some of the sour out of it. But I want to try this just the way it is for now. So I'm going to add the vegan ham. Of course, if you're not vegan or vegetarian, put whatever. You can make this with regular ham. You can make it with bacon. You can make it with corned beef, whatever you have. All right, and I'm going to add some of these walnuts, and this is for extra protein. The vegan ham is made out of seitan, so that will add protein, but this will add more protein. And I don't know if I'm going to add it all. I'm going to mix this up first and see how it goes. I'm going to add about, a small tablespoon of Dijon mustard, because why not? All right, what else? I'm going to put some pepper in here, just a little bit. I don't know how peppery the sauerkraut is, but you can leave the pepper out if you don't like pepper. Okay, so I'm also going to add some onion powder, because we vegetarians add onion powder to like everything, and I'm going to give that a real good, maybe a teaspoon. And what else? I think I'm going to call that good. Let me just look through my spices here. Yeah, I'm going to mix this up and see if there's anything else I need. I'll add some seasoned salt if I need salt, but let me mix this up first. Oh, and I can't forget my egg. If you're vegan instead of vegetarian, make yourself a flax egg or use egg replacer. I'm going to start out with one egg. Hopefully that's enough. But we'll see. Like I said, I've never made these before. So let me get this mixed up and I'll be back. So I just tasted this. Flavor's good. Except I want to add a little more ham flavor. So I have this broth base and seasoning, and it's vegan ham flavored. And it's by Orrington Farms. So I'm going to add a good heaping teaspoon of that, just to give it a little bit more of a ham flavor. And then I'm going to mix this up, and I'm going to stick this in the refrigerator for about an hour, just to firm it up a little bit. So I'll be back when I make the patties. I'm back. Okay, I just rolled this into a little ball, and it's holding up just fine, but I think I want it a little bit firmer, and you're just going to have to go by feel with this, because I'm going to roll this in flour and then in panko and put it in my air fryer. So what I'm going to do, I have a box of Idahoan mashed potatoes here, and I even got 25% more free. So I'm going to add some more of these flakes. I just want to firm this up a little bit and soak up some of that moisture from the sauerkraut. So I'm adding maybe a quarter of a cup of the potato flakes. And then I'm going to let that sit for a little bit just to soak up some more of that water, because I don't want these real mushy, but I don't want them real firm either. So sometimes when you're cooking, especially if you're cooking with things that you have on hand, you have to kind of learn to get a feel for things and cook to your taste buds. You know, because a lot of recipes, they're developed for somebody else's taste buds. So I think that'll be better. And I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. And I'll be back again. So while my mixture is firming up, I'll let it sit for a little bit, let the flavors marry. I'm going to add the rest of this box into a mason jar. And I like these plastic lids. You can get these online. Amazon sells them, if they have them, since mason jars are like gold now. But that'll change again too. What's going to happen is in a couple years, when all this passes, people are going to be giving a lot of mason jars and things to the thrift store. Just saying. So, but I'm going to store this in here rather than in a box. Oops. I guess it would help if I opened this more. But it'll keep it a little drier. And you can always, if you have regular mason jar lids, you can always seal this with a food saver, or you can add oxygen absorbers, whatever your pleasure. And that just fits. Perfect. I love when that happens. So a lot of times I get those little packets of the Idahoan potatoes, but since this was on sale, I picked one of these up too, and this will go into my stash. And So I ended up using all of the walnuts, and that was about 1/4 of a cup of walnuts. And those walnuts, as they're sitting in the batter, or whatever you want to call it, those will soften up too a little bit, because I had made these for a different dish and I want to use these up. Okay, so I'll be back once I get my prep done here, and we'll make some sauerkraut balls and some sauerkraut patties and see how it turns out. All right, so what I've decided to do, here's my mixture. I've decided I'm going to make the sauerkraut balls first and see how they taste before I make the patties. And then I'll make a patty or two if I think it's going to be good that way. Otherwise, I can make these now and freeze them, and when the holidays come up, I'll have an hors d'oeuvre ready. So this is about the consistency that it should be, and I have one of these little tiny cookie scooper things, and this is about the consistency that it should be. Not too wet, not too dry, but you want them to hold together and not really stick on your hands too much. And don't make them too big because you want to make sure that they cook all the way through before they brown. So that's about what they should look like. Now here I have flour and panko. Now I had just regular panko, and I add a little tiny bit of seasoned salt and onion powder to it, and then I have some walnut milk over here that I want to use up. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this in the flour, give it a good coating, and then I'm going to quickly dip it in the milk. And you want to try and keep one hand dirty and one hand kind of dry. And then I'm going to roll this in the panko. Now if you have seasoned panko, that's okay too. Use what you have. Regular breadcrumbs will be fine too. But I want these really crunchy. So that's what they'll look like. And I have here for my air fryer a parchment lined paper, and I'm going to put those on there. Now I'm not sure yet at what temperature I'm going to cook these, because I want to make sure that they do cook all the way through. But there's really nothing in here that isn't already cooked except the egg, and eggs cook pretty quickly. So, you know, it's not that important that you, even if they're soft inside, it should be okay. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put these, I'll do one more, and then I'm going to go ahead and bake these up in the air fryer. I imagine you can bake these in the oven too, and I would say at least at 375. Check that temperature. You want to make sure you don't leave them in the milk too long because they'll get soggy. So I'll be back, and I'll let you know what I baked them at and how they turned out. Alright, so here I've made some actually into patties. I rolled them in the balls, in the flour, in the milk, and then in the panko, and then I flattened them because I tried flattening them and then doing it. That didn't work. So roll it into balls first, put it on your parchment paper and flatten them down a little bit, and here are the balls. The balls are actually easier to make, but I'm going to bake these now. And I'm going to try and bake them at 375 in my oven, my air fryer. And then I'm going to bake them for 12 to 15 minutes and then turn them over and bake them a little longer. And I'll let you know how long that took once I'm finished. All right, so here they are done. Here are the balls. These are the little patties, and I made one big patty. See if I can have that for dinner, and they're nice and crunchy on the outside. Now here I have a combination of ranch dressing and honey mustard that I'm going to use as a dip, and it's good that way, or you can use them separately, either ranch or honey mustard or a combination of the two. It's very tasty. Would make a good salad dressing too. So I'm going to try one of the little patties and see what I think. All right. A little dip. Tasty. I did try one of the sauerkraut balls earlier. I mean, they're obviously all the same thing. And they're good both ways. The only thing that I would do differently for my taste, if I were to make these again, I would rinse the sauerkraut a little bit, because I don't like a real sour sauerkraut, and this sauerkraut was pretty sour. But if you like that, then don't rinse the sauerkraut. But this is good. I can double dip because I'm the only one eating this, and it has a very smoky ham-like flavor to it. So if you're craving ham and you're vegetarian or vegan, you might want to give these a try. But I would make these again. So if you have leftover mashed potatoes and sauerkraut, a few other ingredients, spices, you might want to give these a try. I'm going to have a couple of these for lunch with a cup of coffee. I know that's a weird combination, but so cheers to you. Use what you have. I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.